I hope this weekly message finds you and your families doing well as can be expected, given what's going on in the world around us. You know, hear a lot of talk recently about the new normal that this is producing for us. And it got me thinking a little bit about that, because I believe that we get to decide what that new normal is. Things are happening around us that we can't necessarily control, and there will be changes that happen because of it. But as those things shift and change, we have an opportunity to influence and impact them. This is a time of great change for institutions and individuals. It's also a time for some self-reflection and an opportunity to start to change patterns and behaviors that we as individuals and as our community and institutions have gotten into. Sometimes change happens to us, but I do believe that this is one of those times where we can manage the change. We can't change COVID and some of the things that are happening because of it, but we can change the way that we react, respond, and interact with the people around us. Sometimes change happens because of big things, but I tend to believe that change is much more influenced by the small individual decisions that are made by millions and thousands and hundreds of people each day that have the bigger and longer lasting impact on what's going on around them. So in that idea of managing the change and helping to create the new normal, I would just suggest that this might be a time to reach out to someone that you haven't spoken to or interacted with before or for a while, to reach out to someone who sees the world in a different way than you do, to reach out as institutions and leaders across lines that have been and barriers that have been put up over the months and years, and start to find a way to connect again, find a way to find those commonalities, because what I do know is that together we are much stronger than any one of us as an individual or an institution is by themselves. And the way that we're going to get through this and get through this together as a community is by working together. And that means reaching across the lines and finding a way and a means of connecting with people that you probably think that you couldn't or haven't been able to before. A quick update on our Community Response Fund. A little less than 2 weeks ago, we recognized the gravity of what was happening, and through our conversations with our direct service agencies and partners in the community, realized something was going on and we were going to need to be prepared for it. And so we launched a response fund. I am very happy to say that in less than 2 weeks, we have now raised just over $500,000 because of your and the community's support. You can continue to help support that fund by going to jfedstl.org at any time. We completed an initial round of assessments with 53 community institutions and have put together recommendations for funding for the first round of funding from those emergency funds that's going to go before the Federation Board next week and will hopefully be approved. We can get money out. Those needs really are around the basic service needs for the most vulnerable. We're talking about ensuring that there's food, medicine, mental health services for those who are homebound or in severe need. Also additions to financial support funds that are out there. The other thing that it is helping to support is the needs for Passover. This is a unique need that we as a community have, and as most of you probably know, Passover is coming up next week. So we will be helping to support our partners that are providing food and needs in those areas, and I want to make sure people know about a couple of opportunities and options that are out there. First of all, the JCC is offering hot kosher for Passover meals for those who either want them and can afford them, or for those who need them and cannot. All you need to do is reach out to the J. There is information on their website. The J613 Catering is providing those meals, preparing them. Orders need to be in by Monday in order to have them for Passover. If you can't pay, they will make these meals available at no charge. You simply need to speak with Robin at 613 Catering, and they will take care of it for you. In addition, the JFS Pantry, Food Pantry, the Harvey Kornblum Food Pantry, has shelf-stable Passover foods available for people. If you need assistance, please reach out to JFS at their main number, and they will provide you with some Passover staples. Chabad is offering Passover kits for people who are leading their first ever Passover Seder. You can go online to sign up for them. They can be picked up at the food pantry or at the JCC. Many congregations and organizations are doing virtual Seders and virtual Passover-related items. To see a full list of what's available, go to jfedstl.org and look there. One other note about the food pantry. As you can imagine, at this time, there is a increased and increasing demand for the food pantry. While they are set on food for the time being, their biggest concern has been volunteers. The majority of their volunteers are over the age of 50 and are in the high-risk group, so they have not been able to use them. This is the biggest need that they have, is for volunteers. If you are young and healthy and able and willing to help, please contact JFS about helping in the food pantry, unpacking boxes, packing packages, bringing packages out to people's trunks. And finally, I wanted to let you all know what we have been doing with our elected officials and around the CARES Act that you've been hearing about. As you know, the Congress and the passed and the President signed a $2.2 trillion aid package called the CARES Act. One of the pieces of that is the PPP, the Payroll Protection Plan, which provides instant dollars, about $350 billion, for small businesses, which include the vast majority of our Jewish institutions and synagogues in town. Process and applications for that opened today, and earlier this week we put on a webinar for our community institutions to be able to understand what those dollars were, how they could be accessed, and what they could be used for. We actually had a lot of information and some very good information, and the United Way partnered with us to push it out to all of their membership institutions as well, and we had over 220 people on that call. This was a place where the Jewish Federation was able to play a leadership role in Greater St. Louis community. We are happy and proud to be able to do that, to make sure that as many nonprofits specifically are able to access those funds and maintain themselves over the next 60 days during this crisis. I know it's an uncertain time in general. All I can say is that I found a lot of comfort in reaching out to my colleagues, people I work with and for, and the other Jewish institutions and their leadership at this time. We're all going through something together, and we will get through it. This will pass. It will end, and there will be a time when we'll be able to look back and say, remember COVID? Right now, while we're going through it, it is a little tough. Reach out to each other. Lean on one another. A burden is very, very heavy when carried by one person, but when that load is shared, it gets a little lighter for all of us. I hope all of you have a Shabbat Shalom, and since we probably won't be speaking, a Chag Sameach, a good Passover for you, your family, and your virtual gatherings. Thank you.